It's so misguided in every possible way. Like, what were they thinking?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of one of those things where it's like I thought this was for kids at first because of the way it's shot and it's so cheap looking, and then like come to find out like there's a part where the dog like tries to like have sex with like a human lady. It like jumps on her, and it's like,
that was disturbing.
Is this for what? Who's this for? We are live right now.
Whoa!
I know, right? So what's up, man?
What's up?
I'm like, it's been
this is bound
one
to
whole
be a
week.
Good episode.
It definitely won't Poochinski. It's like, wait, what? But yeah, this is the 74th episode of the Buddy Shotz podcast. So welcome everybody. This is Matt Week, and it's not
Matt Week.
Witch Week or Bitch Week. This is the feature presentation, as Matt said, bound, and the Weird Watches is Poochinski. I can't even say it without smiling. So.
Your new favorite show.
The one episode. So what's up, man? How you been?
Good.
I'm like, I've only seen you for, I haven't seen you in a week. But, yeah.
Been a while.
It's been a while since I gone and fuck things up like I always do. It's like, huh?
Apparently it hasn't been a while if he always does it.
It's a constant affair with the person that fucks up. Are you ready to get into the nerd news?
Yeah.
You just keep saying that. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, ugh. It's like First Kid. Have you ever seen that movie? With Sinbad?
Bruce Willis? Oh. I think I did see that.
Where like
I was thinking of The Kid with Bruce Willis.
Yeah, where he sneaks out and like tricks Sinbad, and it's like it has like these automated responses on his computer, and then like he's like, "You doing okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Are you okay? Do you want anything? Yeah, I'm fine." It's like, bullshit. So anyway, that's not anything to do with the news, or does it? No, it doesn't. Sadly, there's not gonna be a First Kid 2. What do you have?
So, you hear about this? My nerd
You're
news
about to
this
get
week
kicked out.
Are you familiar with the Mandela effect?
Yes. Should we explain it?
It's like something that idiots made up because they have bad memories, but they actually think that things, that they remember from growing up actually were somehow changed. But I found it interesting. Some interesting news this week because apparently some people on like 4chan and Reddit have been trying to like create false Mandela effect news. And one specifically was creating a conspiracy that there was actually an extra character in The Simpsons named Graggle. And they went through like elaborate, putting together elaborate fakes where like Graggle's in the background. You should look up what he looks like because he's pretty funny looking. Looks like Big Bird, but with no feathers. Graggle Simpson. To like fool people into having false memories about Graggle.
Well, the weirdest thing is like that's not even like I don't even know why they didn't try something that actually makes sense. Like the name isn't even close to.
I think that's why I found it so funny.
Oh yeah, it's definitely funny. But it's like if they were actually trying to trick anybody, like that, there's no way in hell. Well, I shouldn't say that. False information runs more rampant than the truth these days. But one thing that you can rely on for truth is that the Buddy Boys are back. Actually, they never really left.
This nerd news is real.
It is. It's not Bernstein. It's Bernstein. And you will oblige. So we got a couple.
Which that was.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. What'd you say?
When I saw Berenstain Bears, that did blow my mind.
Yeah, I think that's the only one I ever was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's the only one.
But yeah, I can't really. I know. Yeah, I don't know. I do think there's one other one I think that was like Looney Tunes the way it was spelled, but the more I think about it, when I was younger, I wasn't really obsessed with the way it was spelled. So I guess
And also there's a thing with like language, or the English language at least, where if you see the first and last letters of a word, like your brain will put together what's in the middle. So it's easy to see how stuff like that could happen.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Like how I always
Move on
spell
to your
nerd news NYRDNEWZ when I never spell it that way when I post on our Instagram.
Well, you should.
Actually, that doesn't have anything to do with what we just talked about. But anyway, I've got a couple things here. James Cameron called James Bond a complete scumbag and said the films were rotten at their core. Right off the bat, a great quote from James. Here.
I mean, if you really dig into it, like probably over half of characters in movies are scumbags.
I mean, I don't...
And killers.
I don't disagree.
James Bond's a mass murderer. He's killed thousands of people at this point.
Yeah, I mean, especially... I mean, I don't know. Like, it's one of those things where I just thought, the title was hilarious.
That's hilarious.
Or, like, the quote or whatever, because when I read into it here, I mean, it's... The James Bond films are rotten to their core. The guy's a womanizing drunk. He's a complete scumbag. He really is. It's male fantasy. And I was like, and that's kind of how he was talking about how he came up with the idea for, what was it called? Oh gosh, excuse me. True Lies. Because he was like, what if James Bond had to come? Nice, yeah, what if James Bond had to come home to his family, and he was like a family man instead. And I was just like, that's actually, I like that idea, and I won't go on record and defend, especially the earlier James Bond films, because like we were talking about, he's definitely like the Sean Connery ones. It's definitely like a little dicey, especially watching it now. But like you were saying, I mean,
I'm calling total bullshit on this, dude. In True Lies, Arnold like fakes his wife into thinking that like she has to do a strip tease for a stranger when it's like that's.
I think we've lost Matt. So, we got technical difficulties right now. This has never happened. Yeah. Okay. I was like, I don't think we've ever had this happen before where you've had to disconnect and come back before.
Yeah, that was weird.
What happened? You were just talking and then you couldn't hear shit or something? Or
I heard you say, "Are you there?" And I saw that, Discord was like, "You've been disconnected." Like, okay.
James Cameron heard you and was like, "You're out." No, I totally agree with you. That's
also, like,
fucked up.
He's treating that fact about James Bond like it's a revelation. Like, anyone who's seen read it,
well,
James
me
Bond,
and you are like
everyone
huge
knows that,
fans
dude.
and stuff, and like it's just if it's time too.
Part of the character.
Yeah. I think they like.
Anyways, that's all the more reason why they need to reboot it and have James Bond be an alien.
That's true. It's true, James. You are an alien. I think that's probably why Roger Moore is my favorite Bond, though, is because he's like, especially after Sean Connery, he was like the one that was like, obviously he still slept with women, but he was like a gentleman. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Yeah. And he was funny and stuff. It was like, there's nothing wrong with being sexy, but, I don't know.
Yep.
It gets a little hard to watch. But yeah, I actually never thought about that, where he's like in the dark, like making his wife fucking strip and shit. It's like, okay, dude. It's like, obviously for him, it's like, dude, this is awesome. But like, she didn't know it was fucking her husband. Like, it was just some random dude. So it's like, also like, shouldn't he be kind of pissed? Because he's like, what the fuck? My wife stripped for another dude.
Yeah.
It's like, anyway, another article I have here is once again another thing that I would have loved to have seen. Maybe it'll still happen, but Quentin Tarantino wanted to do a Django Zorro crossover with Antonio Banderas coming in, and I was like, holy shit, that would be so cool. And I guess Banderas I guess they talked in like 2020, and he was like, dude, yeah, man, anything that you want me to be in, I'll be in, and I'd totally be down to come back as Zorro, because he played him, in those two movies. and having Jamie Foxx come in and like play Django again, and kind of like them teaming up against like the bad people that were like kind of like, I guess, slaving Zorro's people that he kind of like stands up for and stuff.
Okay.
And I was just like, dude, I don't know, like anything. It's like every single time I hear about like a movie that like he wanted to make and like hasn't made yet, I always get hyped about it. Like that whole thing of his idea of like Godzilla, like, you know, being like turning it on its ear, and then have it like the whole Star Trek idea too. I was like, man, these sound so cool. But yeah, yep. I think they were saying that like this is definitely something that he was like, yeah, this is still on the table, because they just talked about it like a couple years ago. So I guess it just depends on what happens. I don't believe like Quentin Tarantino is always like, oh, I'm quitting, but I'm like, dude, that's never gonna happen unless he like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it could happen, but I feel like a lot of times directors that are into like, you know, that have this many ideas, like, I don't know. I guess I could just become like Kevin Smith and just get high all the time and just do a podcast.
It's not a podcast.
It's a smodcast. Smodcast. And then my last thing is just, have we talked about this before? But maybe this wasn't. Maybe this is something.
Yeah, about this.
God, dude, please say it more. But I guess Big Trouble in Little China was originally supposed to be a Western, and then once I think like Carpenter got a hold of it, like he kind of reimagined it and stuff. But it was essentially like Jack Burton was a cowboy who like rides into town, and then like his horse gets stolen instead of his truck, because it was like like this other guy, like I guess Gary Oldman wrote it like not a long time ago, but the original script was written by those guys, and then they kind of like changed it around. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah. But I thought that, I guess they got like credits and stuff like that.
Maybe it would have been a bigger hit if they would have been a Western.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because like the more I think about that, the more I'm like, man, that would have been interesting if like they were to do a reimagining of it now, like with the same people. Like, well, not all of them, because some of them are dead, but like Kurt Russell coming back as a cowboy, he's already done that like a bunch. So I don't know. I feel like that would bring in people that were fans of the first one, like Big Trouble in Little. Well, not Little, but I guess it'd be like Big Trouble in the West or something. I don't know. Anyway, but I thought those were kind of interesting. Because I don't know, it's hard to find stuff that isn't just like, I mean, those were what ifs, but it's hard to find things that aren't just like, I don't know, because a lot of them are like, hey, check out who's in this new movie, and check out who's in this trailer, and like, it's like, well, I can't really talk about that. That's not really, I mean, it's news, but it's like, you know, what am I going to do, describe the trailer? You know, like, I don't know.
Yeah, boring.
So, I'm like, it's like, you remember, like, whenever there'd be like a Comic-Con and like Ain't It Cool News or something would do like, it was like behind closed doors, so they did like a write-up of the trailer, and it's like, okay, cool, I can't actually watch the trailer, so you're just literally describing it? Like, that's bullshit. Like, who cares? Anyway, so do you have anything else?
That's it.
Okay, well, thanks for coming by, guys. Do you have
on Monday.
Do you have any recommendations or tales?
Not this week.
Actually, you lied. We do have one tale. A tale on the end of Poochinski.
How long you been working on that one?
I actually just came up with it.
Nice.
That's how I roll. That's the 1 out of 1,000 that was actually funny. So speaking of which, let's move on to Weird Watches.
Watch.
This was your pick. This was Matt week all week. So why don't you tell everybody how you heard about this?
I don't know. It's just,
you don't know how you heard of
legendary, it? Well, it's one of those like legendary like things that you hear about and you can't believe that it's real.
Okay.
And sure enough, it was.
You're like, I can't remember how I felt, but it came to me in a dream, Doc Brown style. So yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember the first time I heard about Bigfoot. It's just always been there.
Poochinski and Bigfoot, the same mythical qualities. Yeah, it's just there in the air. don't want Peter Boyle fucking talking to me and getting me pissed. So, speaking of Peter Boyle, he's in this.
How come Poochinski looks just like Daddy?
He's like, looks just like a fucked up puppet. So if people don't know what this is,
Oh, everyone knows what this is.
Yeah. But why don't you explain it to the folks? Unless, do you want me to?
I'd rather you.
You picked it, and you're turning your nose up at the stench.
I want to distance myself from
So I'll just go through the thing here. The story follows Chicago police detective Stanley Poochinski, played by Peter Boyle, whose spirit is transferred into a flatulent English bulldog. I don't know where they get that from, because I don't really remember any farting, but after he is killed in the line of duty, the canine detective then returns to solving crimes. Not really, since it's literally just, I think, one episode. It's a 1990 unsold television pilot, and it was aired like one time, I think, and it just never... They didn't do shit with it.
I can't believe this wasn't picked up for a whole series.
Right. I feel like if this...
With a description that's stupid.
Yeah. So highlights from this episode: green piss, weird puppet, grass eating to throw up in protest, dog humping a lady. So essentially, like, in this episode, Peter Boyle finds this dog getting beat up by these kids. He saves it. He gets hit by a car. He dies. As he's dying, he's like, ugh, and like just, turns into a fucking bitch. And like a living dog gets, I guess, like taken over by a human soul, and he inhabits this dog, and it's like I don't know if this, I think this came before, maybe it came before Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but this is like in contention for Salem as far as like the worst looking fucking puppet that's used regularly. Well, I guess this wasn't used regularly, it was once. But then he has to, he goes back to his partner, and he starts like living with his partner. And there's some other bullshit that happens. He catches a criminal that keeps robbing people, and then I don't know, dude. I think I fell asleep actually at one point while we were watching this. And then at the end, they kind of set it up like, oh well, he's got to find out who killed him, but there's no leads, so it's like, how the fuck's that ever gonna happen? He gets run. Yeah, that's how did I already say he dies by by running out in the road and getting hit by a car that the dog ran out into the road. He saved him. It's like, yeah. This is by far Peter Boyle's worst fucking acting role. He doesn't give a fuck in this. He's been in, a mainstay on Everybody Loves Raymond. The what's it called?
He's been in a million movies.
Frankenstein with Gene Wilder. He's been in a ton of stuff. He was in a movie we watched earlier. In one of the episodes, Outland. He's been in a ton of stuff, but this is just I think you said it when we were driving around. You were saying he doesn't care, and he knows that this isn't gonna go anywhere, so he doesn't even try. And I have to agree. It was what the hell is this?
But it's not like he's sleepwalking through it. It's he's just acting very strangely. He knows something's wrong.
I almost feel like it. I mean,
I can't describe it.
Kind of seem. It's weird because before he becomes the dog, it's almost like he's on sleeping meds or something, and he's trying to stay awake. And then when he becomes the dog, the voice acting is he's kind of giving a shit, but it almost doesn't even sound like him. So it's okay, but it is him, I'm assuming. I don't even know what else to say about this. I mean, usually when
I don't know what to say. It's we'll struggle to find a weirder watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like usually when I watch these, I watch them and take notes, but I didn't even give a shit because usually I pause and stuff. But it's like there's really not. I mean, I guess that you could make a whole fucking episode about this, but it's one of those things where it's like you said, it's. I don't think
you could, but why should?
Right. It's definitely a weird watch. It's. I think it's probably the weirdest thing we've watched. It contends with My Mother the Car for like, what the fuck were they smoking when they thought this would be like a serious, like this?
It's so misguided in every possible way. Like, what were they thinking?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of one of those things where it's like I thought this was for kids at first because of the way it's shot and it's so cheap looking, and then like come to find out like there's a part where the dog like tries to like have sex with like a human lady. It like jumps on her, and it's like,
that was disturbing.
Is this for what?
Bizarre.
Who's this for? It's also one of those things where like My Mother the Car and this would have like worked if it was like one of those like Tim and Eric or like other shows that were on Adult Swim back in the day. I could see them totally making something stupid like this, but this is like a real show that like happened.
I know. Don't get me wrong, like I love this kind of stuff. It's just baffling to me, like how something this weird could actually get made, and like that they thought it could be a show that was actually on TV.
Well, it's funny that like it's like something like this gets made, but we haven't had like another Austin Powers or like there, so many things don't deserve to be made like this get made. Just that it even got to this phase. It wasn't just like somebody was. This is like something that like Kevin Smith would come up when he was high and they would joke about, but he wouldn't make it. But like this is like
Tusk.
Yeah, well, at least I mean, as much as I disliked that movie was like at least had money put into it. This was like 480i. Fucking the only way we were able to watch this was on YouTube, and the quality was like kind of dog shit, and like. The puppet was shocking, especially when we found out it was made by Industrial Light and Magic. We were like, what the fuck was this? So, yeah, it was just all around just the whole thing of it being made. I'd say usually, like, when we talk about it, we ask, be like, are we going to continue watching this? But, like, there was no more episodes of this ever made. It was just, like, this one weird pilot, and then it's like... Everybody was like drunk or high. They made this, and then like the next day they woke up after they made it and aired it, and were like, "What the fuck did we do last night?" It's like, I don't know.
I hate to say, and I don't know what this says about me, but if there were more episodes, I would definitely watch because it's so crazy and stupid.
Yeah, it wasn't like I think the thing is, it's like one of those things where it's bound to fail. So it's like, I think this could have succeeded if it came out like today. There would definitely be like a market for it somewhere.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be this way. It would be like ironic, and like it would know that it's stupid. The show didn't. You know what I mean?
That's true. It probably would have actually been like 100 times funnier because some of the jokes in this are just like, what is this? This is not even funny. The funniest stuff was like when he tried to like he threw up, but
that came out of nowhere, and that was hilarious.
Yeah, it was like anything to do with the puppet was funny, but anybody else in the show was not. Like even Peter Boyle wasn't funny until he became a dog. Like you said, like the funniest part about this was like it's like Birds of the Room. It was just like trying to be good, but it wasn't. But I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it.
I think we covered it.
Yeah. Once again, another awesome fucking weird watch. At least it wasn't like a fucking...
It completes the trilogy of people turning into things from Manimal, My Mother, the Car, and Poochinski. Like the trifecta.
Yeah. And like 2 of them were in fucking the worst quality ever. Somehow My Mother, the Car was like actually good quality.
Looks like they filmed it yesterday.
That show at least had like some shit behind it, like Poochinski and the other like the fucking. It's like both Poochinski and Manimal were like just horrifying. Like when he was transforming, it was like, Good God Almighty, dude. So bad. So, yeah, I guess you already said you'd keep watching this if you could.
I would. I totally would.
I would maybe watch like one or more episodes. I guess it would really depend on, what the fuck they did with it. But it was pretty ridiculous. Okay.
Shocking.
Yeah, shocking. Are you ready to move on to the main event?
Are you?
No, I think I got like 10 more pages of notes here about Poochinski. Yeah, I'm ready. Weirdly enough, I thought I was going to have more to say about it, but it's time to move on to Bound, which is, why don't you go ahead and, I guess, tell everybody how you found out about this movie. Or not found out about, but I don't know what, whatever.
I've seen it a couple times over the years.
I
liked it. And then, probably a couple years ago, I saw that behind-the-scenes pic that I sent you of the three main leads in a hot tub smoking cigars naked.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is the greatest behind-the-scenes picture of all time. And it made me want to watch the movie again. So.
Don't expect...
Literally, that's the reason.
Don't expect a Buddy Shotz one of those. Unless you cop up the dough. Even then, that ain't happening. Okay, so... Yeah, I mean... That's legit. I didn't know you'd seen it multiple times. I liked that.
I remember back when it came out, actually, because Roger Ebert loved it.
Yeah, that's not shocking.
Yeah.
But I can't disagree. So I'm just going to go ahead and I guess we'll talk about what this is. Bound is a 96 American neo-noir crime thriller film. A film. Written and directed by the Wachowskis in their feature film directorial debut. Violet, Jennifer Tilly, who longs to escape her relationship with her mafioso boyfriend Caesar, Joe Pantoliano, or, as I will say many times because you brought it up, thank God, Joey Pants, enters into a clandestine affair with alluring ex-con Corky, Gina Gershon, and the two women hatch a scheme to steal $2 million of Mafia money. And that's it. That's all the notes I have. Good night.
Joey Pants from Beverly Hills Bunts.
Ah.
And Risky Business.
Well, we knocked...
our previous episode.
Yeah. That's all he's ever been in. But yeah, that's the setup. So, let's get down to knocking it out of the park here, brother.
What did you think about Bound?
Bound.
Bound. Birdo style.
Bound. First of all, I have to thank you for nominating this. This was like
you're welcome.
A breath of fresh air. Actually, I would say it's a breath of fresh air, but it's like I'm on a vacation right now. I've seen two movies back to back that I absolutely enjoyed.
Oh, dude, nice. I'm glad you liked it. I wasn't sure.
So I liked this film, I liked Roger Rabbit, and I liked Rambo, so...
We're on a roll.
Yep. But yeah, I actually couldn't believe that the Wachowskis made this, and not saying that in a bad way, but it's like definitely different than like The Matrix or Speed Racer, like the other things that I know them from, that they've made, because like those are both like good in their own ways, but it's definitely not, I would definitely not be like, oh yeah, Wachowskis made this, well, I guess I was like that, but I wouldn't have ever guessed it, you know what I mean? But I guess this was their first foray into films.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your special effects action extravaganza by any means.
Well, I mean, I think it's because, like, it's definitely, like, The Matrix was, like, revolutionary, and it's the way they pioneered certain things, like the filming at bullet time and all that kind of crap, and certain action and stuff like that. I think that's what they're best known for, and probably always will be. But I would definitely say if you haven't seen this and you're not a fan of The Matrix, or even if you are and you like the Wachowskis, give this a watch for sure.
Yeah, it's.
I was kind of shocked.
It's a solid thriller, erotic, black comedy. Maybe
It's erotic. It's sensual.
it shocks you.
I guess it would, depending on who you are. I wasn't shocked, but I was sensuated. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I would completely. I would.
It's a unique
agree with
movie.
that. Yeah, it's actually
And it's one of the few movies, which is one of the reasons I picked it. That's like features like good female characters in the lead.
right.
Doesn't happen too often.
Yeah, which is like sad because it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's like one of the things I read about this was like when they first pitched this to a bunch of studios, like they were like, yeah, well, we're totally down to make this film, but only if you change one of the females into a male. And they were like, why the hell would we want to do that? That movie's been made a million times.
Exactly.
And I was just like, I don't know. I think that's one of the things, whether you love them or hate them, the Wachowskis, I've always kind of been a fan. Like, just because, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I've always had a huge place in my heart for them after they made the Speed Racer film, because whether you like that film or not, it was true to the source material, and I could tell they were fans, because I was like, I couldn't have done any better if I tried. Like, even though I don't know what kind of a thing that is, like, who would not try to make a better film? But you know what I mean? It's like they care, and you can tell. And it's like The Matrix as well. Like, yeah, I was happy to hear that, because, like you were saying, I mean, there's not enough good leads in movies, not only that are female, but that aren't just like, dudes.
Right.
Like, and even that today is hard
And you
to
could
find.
you could change Corky to a male character, and the movie would still be good, but it's kind of elevated in my mind.
Yeah.
By having a strong female character in the lead, like your film noir.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's
leading
like,
man.
leading ma'am.
Yeah, and we all know that Corky is the most erotic of names.
Look through a hole in the wall and see people showering. That's what I think of when I think of Corky.
Corky Romano.
Peter Falk's like, I am gonna say something horrible in this film. Damn it. Like, come on, Columbo.
What would he say?
He said some derogatory remarks toward his son, who was a homosexual. He said, I don't care if he's a, F word. And I was like, okay. Which I was like, at that point, was like, is this in the script, or? Anyway,
Wow.
Corky Romano. That's where we're going here. That's actually who played the characters, Corky Romano.
Yeah, Corky Romano Origins, bound.
Biome. No, this movie's awesome.
I mean, it's a small scale movie, which sometimes is refreshing. Like it's just a good little movie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But there are high stakes.
Ah.
It's definitely some good suspense.
This movie was a lot like Lock, Stock, and Smoking Barrels and like Snatch to me. Like, I was like,
yeah,
there's definitely some. You've got your heist planning. You've got like this and that, and like, and then things go wrong, and then like, this happens, and it's like there's a lot of tension, and it's got obviously the mob's involved, or like the Mafia, so you've got that, and there's something
cool,
for everybody
like,
in this film, honestly.
when they put together the plan to like steal the money,
Mm-hmm.
it instantly goes off the rails. Like everything they planned for is totally derailed.
Yeah.
Which is always cool to see in movies.
Yeah, it's a great plan. It just kind of, it was like the opposite of what happened. It was like, oh shit.
And it's not relying on like characters being dumb or making dumb decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone's trying to outsmart each other.
Right.
And it works.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's like really wasn't anything in this film where it was like the you know, it made sense the way that things were set up. It wasn't like it had to rely on super specific set of circumstances to happen. I mean, obviously they were specific circumstances, but they were circumstances that had a high probability of happening that you could infer from like what would happen once something happened to the next second to the next thing. It's like, yeah. But I guess let's see, I'm trying to see if there's where we should start here. We got Joey Pants was moaning when he was having sex in the beginning, and he was like, whoa! And I was like, eh. Went into fucking overdrive. I was like, huh?
One point, I think he was like, oh yeah.
Yeah! There was also...
Like, what, is he Luigi?
There was like a quote earlier in it where it's just like, there was like quotes, and then like somebody said like, where's the fucking money? Money. Like, this was like when she was tied up, and it was a flash. They did flashback essentially after that, but it was like, where's the fucking money? And I was like, at that point, I was like, what? And I was like, I didn't understand, you know. And then later on, it's like, oh, I understand now. But it was like,
I did like the sound. This is a good sound movie because a lot of it's like relying on being able to hear what's happening through walls and stuff.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Corky gets off the phone and is smiling. Okay, that was a great note. I gotta like start like writing.
Did you like the
more
lead? Like,
notes.
What did you think of the leads in this movie? Like Gina Gershon, Jennifer Tilly.
I actually had a note here that said all of these like actors should have gotten an Oscar. Like I don't know. I didn't look in to see if this movie got nominated for anything, but I feel like all of these, like by far, I think this is the best movie Jennifer Tilly's ever been in by a fucking mile.
Yeah, I think you could be right.
Because, I mean, she started doing films like, I mean, not to shit on these films, but she started being in, like, the Chucky films. And it's like, that was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek thing, and I think she, you know, was fine with it. But it was like, you compare that to, like, this, where, like, this is, like, you know, because there's a large part of the film where, like, Gina Gershon isn't really on screen. And, like, it's essentially her fucking carrying the film. And she's fucking awesome. Great. And I
agree, dude.
Yeah,
I'm so glad you brought up the awards because I just looked it up. It wasn't nominated for any Oscars. It was nominated for some Saturn Awards, but there's this really cool website called the 2020 Awards, where every year they look at the Oscars from 20 years ago and they redo it to like get it right.
Oh, okay.
And they totally nominated Gina Gershon and Jennifer Tilly and said they should have been.
Yeah, for sure.
Nominated for Oscars. So good call by 2020 Awards.
I think that, I don't know, I would hate to play this and say, like, play this card, or I guess it's not really playing a card, but it's kind of like, I feel like, I mean, she's the reason why that it probably wasn't nominated was because that both the main actors were lesbians, like, their characters. I could be wrong about that, but I don't know, like, the Oscars also, regardless, just have like a very...
They get it wrong 90% of the time.
Bad track record, but I don't think that helped, especially like in what era it was, like the 90s. Because like, as much, yeah, like you were saying, like, yeah, you could replace like Corky, like they could have done that, but it would have just been the same old shit. And yeah, the writing was great, everything else was great, but like, I think to me that definitely lent like... It made me, like, happy to be watching this because I was like, you know, we've got two female leads that are fucking awesome, and they're in a relationship, and it's not like, obviously they are, but it's not like this is their characters, you know what I mean? It wasn't like every 5 seconds that, you know, like no one ever brought, you know, it's not like she was like, hi, my name is Corky and I'm a lesbian. It's like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if this was maybe made today, it would have been so in your face that it's like, have some fucking subtlety, man. Like,
I totally agree. Also, this movie, like, no one saw it when it came out. I just looked it up. It made $3 million. Like, when it came out, it was in 12th place that week. Like, no one saw this back when it came out, so...
I actually had never heard of it, but I mean,
It came out the same week as The Glimmer Man, starring Steven Seagal.
good God, The Glimmer Man? I don't know if I've ever heard of that movie either.
That's a good one.
I'm sure that'll be one you'll nominate at some point.
It's him and Keenan Ivory Wayans. No, I'm not going to pick any more Seagal movies. I fired my shot.
Well, you can. Are you just saying that because
No, Out for
I
Justice
shit on him?
it's the best.
Okay.
No.
No!
We both,
You're like falling out a window. Ah!
I feel like we both
Yeah.
really like that movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Where's Richie? Anyways, back to bam.
When I grew up, I was wanting to be a little gabagoo, and it's like, huh? Oh God! You took my bam. But yeah. But back to the more I don't know. Yeah, that's not shocking that I guess nobody saw this. Not because I'm like, because I like this movie, but I honestly hadn't heard of it until you were like nominated it. But I mean, I guess I'm not like the person that would know a lot. I'm not like, I don't know what else came out in 1990. I guess I just maybe wasn't on the ball with that. Maybe I was maybe more because we didn't really go to the theaters all that often, so maybe we didn't watch movies on the regular unless it was like VHS. And I'm sure my parents probably didn't ever hear about this film, so there was nobody like older than me that would have been like, hey, you ever heard of this film? So
Until now.
That's true. I'm not apologizing for what I did. I'm apologizing for what I didn't do.
Oh,
such a great quote,
line.
And
there's a lot of good lines.
I'm kind of surprised that they haven't used that in a Duke Nukem. Because I mean, obviously, like the way it was used in this was like she was reassuring Gina Gershon, like, hey, I'm not like saying that I didn't like sleeping with you, and I'm not like being like, by the way, it was a mistake because I'm actually straight. She was saying, I'm upset that I didn't actually get to do more with you.
Got interrupted by Joey Pants.
But instead, like, yeah, well, that could also be a good quote for Duke Nukem or an action film. But anyway, like, but yeah, he like walks in on him, and then when he finds out that it's not a guy, he's like,
hey, what the hell are you doing, guy?
Yeah, and then he's like, oh, it's just another woman. They definitely couldn't be having an affair. It's like, it's so beyond the pale in his mind that, like, a woman could, like, be with his girlfriend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not a huge shock. You kind of find out later on he's kind of a, I don't know what the word is, a homophobe. So, they go to bed. I watched I think the rated version. I mean, it was R-rated, but there's an unrated version of this, which I think you can only watch on DVD. So I didn't.
Yeah,
I guess there's more scenes of like intimacy and stuff. From what I read online. But so I think this is the only one where you actually kind of see them somewhat naked, for my version at least. But they go to where Corky has a bed, and it's like pretty serious and intimate. But then I just started laughing because this part was like really relatable. The edge of the bed sheet like pops off the corner.
Yeah.
And I just had to bring that up because I was like cracking up because I was like, dude, that's so realistic. Because even if you're just sleeping, I've had that happen before. You're like sleeping and it's like, boom. And you're like, fuck, dude, are you serious? It just becomes like annoying.
Yo, are you serious?
What the fuck is this? But yeah, it was just like pop, and I was like, but it was sensual. I don't think I've ever seen a movie that's actually more sensual than this, to tell you the truth. Or like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's rare.
It's rare these days. But I have a question for you though, because like the next day after like sex, Corky says, "I can see again." You have a thought on what that means, or?
I do.
Okay.
You know what it is?
No, go for it.
Her pipes are clean.
She's like, "This is what we do. Do. Everybody in the posse, everybody in the crew." It's like, what? How long have you been with him? 5 years. 5 years is a long time. And I was like, they were both in prison. One physical and one emotional for the same amount of time.
Nice.
I actually thought of that, and I was just like, that had to have been purposeful. I don't know, any of these movies that I actually like, and I try to find, like, more things about them, and some of them I'm just like, I'm in hell. But, this was not one of those times, thank God. I thought this is a cool way to say that she was, like, a thief, like Robin Hood or Lupin. Can you think of any other famous thieves? I think one that I know of, Matt, because he's stolen the Buddy Boy Nation hearts.
I was trying.
You were like, damn it.
I got nothing. You nailed that one.
But redistribution of wealth. That's what I tell people I want to go into bed. Or want to get into bed, but I'm already in your bed. I was like, that reminded me of Austin Powers 2, when he's like trying to get with like Heather Graham, and she's like, you've already like, gotten me. And he's like, I don't know why. It has nothing to do. This is
your favorite.
This isn't a comedy.
He's like, I haven't had the pleasure.
And she's like, of course.
We just met, baby. Yeah.
He grins his teeth. I'm like, Jesus. Corky sees a guy going into like Violet's apartment and has sex with her, but she explains it's not sex, it's work, because she's essentially like a woman of the night, but it kind of reminds, like a porn star, where like it's just work to them. Like, she classifies sex as what she had with someone she cares for, like Corky. And that's when, because Corky was like, this is bullshit. She was getting jealous, and then she was like, finding out essentially like it doesn't mean anything to her.
Yep.
And I was like, damn, dude, that's deep.
Real.
So we've got ominous music here, and out from the limo with his theme steps Christopher Maloney over here, but I think most people know from Law and Order. Johnny, he's wearing an all red suit. I thought that was a pretty legit suit. And they pull out some guy, but it ended up being the guy that she just slept with, Shelly. But he like looks over at Corky as she's like getting stuff out of her truck, and it's essentially like the face is like, I'm fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, Shelly doesn't make out too well in this one.
Yeah. But I thought this was really cool. There was like a transition zooming into the toilet that like Corky can hear that she's working in the next room, and then it zooms out in the other toilet that's exactly the same, and it's like you can hear it more clearly, and like the Mafia is beating the shit out of that guy, and there's blood everywhere.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I really like this movie. It's very stylish. Like, even though it's small scale, like nothing like The Matrix, there's still a lot of like style to it, and it's just good filmmaking.
Well, I think that's like why the Wachowskis.
There's cool camera angles and stuff, and
even if you take any of that action out, you can be like, well, the one thing that they did that was like holy crap more than anything was like their use of like camera work, The Matrix and like all these other films. It's like you said, it was very stylistic, and it was like, it wasn't to the point where it was like I've seen films before where like, they tried to be stylish, but it was just like annoying, because like they tried to do something, but they clearly was just throwing something at the wall, being like, maybe this will land and maybe this will be like cool, but it was just like, okay, you don't know what the hell you're doing. But this was awesome, and they were beating the shit out of the guy, but he said something that I thought was kind of funny, because you don't really ever hear this, and he said, please stop what you're doing. And I was like, okay, like the Mafia's beating the shit out of you, and like he was just like, please stop what you're doing, and I was like, what?
Stop what you're doing, killing me.
Yeah, and they're like, oh shit, he asked to stop getting an ass beating. It's like, okay. I thought that was pretty funny. So we've got our Joker, Richie character for the movie, Christopher Maloney. Which he actually kind of didn't. It was just this one scene, because after that he wasn't really like that. But I have a note that says, when has Joey Pants not played a weird criminal type character? You're probably more familiar with him than I am. Has he ever played?
He's been in so much stuff.
Has he ever not played like this kind of a character? He's like the human rat.
He played Guido, the killer pimp.
Yeah, he's like a human rat in every film.
Yeah, but I think this is one. He's very rarely has a part this big. Like, usually he's a side character,
which is a shame.
Yeah. Another reason.
He's such a good actor that at some point in this film, I actually felt sorry for him at one point. That quickly went away.
Yeah, it's a good character.
But there was a
because
point.
He's kind of the middleman, like the middle manager in the mob. So like he's at times really tough, but at times like very he comes off as weak.
He's above certain people,
like,
but he's below the main guys. So it's like, like you were saying, he's kind of like, he talks big, but then when other people show up, he has to pretty much kiss their ass.
Mm-hmm.
But I like this Mickey character. He's being a nice guy, letting Violet leave. He was kind of like her protector, kind of in this film, like that was in the mob. Joey Pants wants her to stay while they're beating the shit out of this guy, and he was like, "You go ahead and leave. I'll take care of him. If he gets pissed." So, there's a part in this film where the beating the shit out of Shelley kind of looks like Martin Short. Probably a very specific part, but we're gonna ask you 10 times, do you understand? Where is our money? So they've got these like clippers, and they're gonna like start snipping off his digits, or digits, and like and I was like, how the fuck they do this? I don't know. I've seen this before in Mafia film, not this exact thing, but like where they're torturing somebody, like, come on, speak up. They got a fucking gag in his mouth. How the fuck is he supposed to even respond? He's like, "Rrr, rrr," and I was like, well, that must be, I guess that's the point. They're just gonna cut all his fucking fingers off. Like, they were just gonna do that anyway. Because, like, how the fuck is he supposed to, like, say, hey, by the way, guys, this is where I put the money, if his fucking, like, he's got something in his mouth. I don't know. Not very smart. But it just didn't matter because I got the money anyway. And he got fucked. Let's see. I have a note. Love the locations in this movie. I feel like they don't do this anymore, really. And if they do, it's usually wasted on a film that's not very interesting.
It's really just 2 apartments.
Yeah, well, this note came from when they went to this restaurant that had, like, this... It's like these white booths that were really tall, and like they started kind of like, Violet was like, she wants to get out and take the $2 million, and she brings it up to Corky, because this is where they go, I guess, when that dude's getting his ass beat, like Shelley. But it jumped out at me because like I was like, dude, this just doesn't happen anymore, really. Where like they find like a cool hole in the wall bar, like a, in Chicago or New York or something, and to shoot a scene there, it's like a lot of that stuff's just either on a set, or if they do have something cool like that, it's like, I think the only thing that does that anymore is like the Bond films, and sometimes if they do that, it'll just be like, you can't even see it because it's fucking, the action's a million miles per hour, you know what I mean? Because those are like fast-paced films. It was just nice to see some real lived-in scenery in a film.
I agree.
But she wants to take the $2 million from the mob, and they start talking about the plan and what they're gonna do.
Dude, wait, going back to the finger cutting scene.
You're like, I got like 5 fucking things about this.
Roger Ebert said in his review that when the scene played at the Toronto Film Festival, people fled the theater. So be warned. I was like, seriously?
Doubtful.
I know.
God, he's as bad as Harry Knowles.
I mean, what is this, like the 1920s?
Yeah.
Like, that's tame compared to
People were fleeing the theaters when they saw how high up Jennifer Tilly's skirt was. They were like, "Holy shit! This is irrehensible or whatever the hell." I don't even. That's not even a word. Irrehensible. What the fuck am I talking about? It's unconstitutional. It's whatever. It's fucked up. Anyway, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But yeah, that's pure bullshit. Did he say that, like, on his birthday, fucking Gunnar Henson showed up with a fucking chainsaw? Him and...
No, but we'll get it out of the way now. His review,
okay.
He gave it 4 stars. Loved this movie.
4 out of 4 stars?
Yeah.
Who does 4 stars? Come on. It's got to be 9.95.
But there's one line in here that cracked me up because he said, the movie seems to be shaping up as an erotic popcorn masher.
What? A movie seems to be shaping up? It's like he's writing it.
What's a popcorn masher? Like, I've heard of popcorn muncher before, but masher. Like, I'm gonna mash this popcorn.
That doesn't make any sense. The movie
seems to be shaping up as an erotic popcorn masher, but then the plot thickens and keeps on thickening, twisting the characters and the audience ever tighter into a sticky web of murder, blood, sex, and money. There you have it.
Who let this motherfucker have a webpage?
I want to know what popcorn masher means.
That's what I'm like. That's when I'm like, dude, that's like Harry Knowles must have been his son or some shit. Because it's like... popcorn masher? I'm like... When I read that review, I looked at it and said 4 stars. Exactly!
Nice. He's like, the popcorn is mashed. You're welcome.
I smelled the popcorn. It was buttery. You're welcome. So, like, Violet says, "You think you know me?" Can you think of what came to my mind when I heard that?
No. What? I'm scared.
No, don't be scared. That was weird. Don't be scared. Edge's theme by Alter Bridge, Metalingus. You think you know me? On this day, I see clearly. That was the first thing I thought of because she was like, "You think you know me?" And it's like that would play before he would come out, and it would be like Alter Bridge. It's like, I don't know why. It's just like, I think I'd heard it so many times, back when we watched wrestling, that I was just like, it was like clicked in my mind. I was just like, for better or worse.
You got triggered.
I did. I was like, Mama. But Joey Pants brings in a bag of bloody money. How did he not get seen by like anybody on the street with a bag of bloody money like that? It wasn't just like it was
this white shirt.
Yeah.
In blood.
Cops are just like, fuck it. But he's ironing the money one by one. We already talked about setting up the plan to steal the money. Pretty great stuff I like to see in movies just in general is when they set out a plan. It's just nice to, gets the audience involved and stuff, and then you kind of know what to expect, and then you pull the rug out from underneath them. And that's how you build tension. Welcome to our masterclass. The buddy shots are in session. You're welcome.
Thank you, Professor.
Professor Mike. Joey Pants comes out of the shower, teases us with a little bit of the frontal, but we never get to see the goods. Unless, did you see it in unrated?
Nope.
He was in pretty good shape.
Yeah, man.
He was rocking the fucking Link haircut, though. It was like fucking Friar Tuck over here.
This was only, I think, 2 years after he was in Baby's Day Out. So, he was chasing that baby. He lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, he lost a lot of weight, and, he started doing Toys R Us catalogs. So this reveal of him opening the briefcase and assuming that he's fucked. Okay, I guess we should probably talk.
That was such a great scene, dude.
It's probably the only time I've ever felt sorry for this, this guy, just in general, because he usually plays an asshole. But, like, when he's explaining what's happening, it's like he's not screaming or yelling or anything. He's just talking to her, and he's just like, how dumb can you be? And then he was just, like, shedding a tear while he was talking. I'm like, holy shit, this guy's going for an Oscar. And he should have gotten one. And this is where I say I think everybody should have gotten one. This is blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's criminal that this movie didn't get any awards from the fucking Academy. But I guess the gift basket for Bound just wasn't big enough that year. So, fuck you. Like you said earlier, plans backfire. Joey Pants doesn't want to run. He's gone insane! It's Gino. He shows up. Should have been played by Paulie. I don't know why I was thinking
Speaking
about that.
Speaking of Gino, out for justice.
He's like, yeah, seriously.
Which Gina Gershon was in, remember?
Oh,
she had a
yeah.
small part.
Paulie should have shown up and been like, where's the money? He's busted! He's out of agent! Ah! I can't do it no more! It's like, Jesus. Every chance I get, I will bring up that scene from fucking Rocky 1. It's one of my favorite
I'd be disappointed
ridiculous scenes of all time. It's like, I can't tell if it's ADR or he's just doing like ventriloquism. Or maybe
Dude, okay, so I looked up the Oscars from this year, and this was the
from
year
2022.
96. This was the year that The English Patient won all those Oscars. I'm like, dude, this movie's like a million times better than that.
I don't think I've heard of it, but I don't think I've ever seen it. What's it about?
It's like a historical drama.
Dude, fucking nobody gives a shit about that. The only reason
They
why
actually
that
made fun of it on Seinfeld. There's an episode
Oh,
where
really?
Dean, like, hated that movie so much, and like everyone was being so pretentious, like, "Oh, The English Patient is so good." She was
That's
like,
why it won.
whatever.
Because it's like fucking they're able to sniff their own farts. It's like some of the reasons why Ebert will be like, I love this foreign film. Just because it's foreign. It's like, come on, man. Tell it like it is. And sometimes he does. But yeah, that's bullshit. The thing is, with the Academy, they don't even have to watch all the fucking movies. I found that out like years ago. You could nominate a film and like be like, it should win an award as an Academy member, but not even fucking watch it.
That's why I like the 2020 awards. They get it right.
Are you fucking serious? Like, and it's like that on top of like all the stuff of people talking about like it's who you know and who you fucking, you know, it's like how all those movies at Miramax won those, like when Weinstein was bribing everybody with fucking cash and shit and the gift baskets. It's like they run these huge campaigns. It's like, fuck that shit. Just make a good movie like Bound. Now.
Wow.
Bound. Bardo. Bound. So this whole scene that I was watching was Tension City. Freaking heart attack time over here. About the money and such. That was like the worst worded sentence of all time. But the tension was high. And I liked it. Dude, the way this is shot was just expertly done. Like, he shoots Gino and he falls over in slow-mo, and it's like the camera falls with him, kind of. It's
That's
like
such a cool shot. Yeah.
I was like, and it's like when he does all this, he goes into like this slow-mo thing where he's almost like he can't believe he's done it, or he's like, "Oh, I can't believe you've done this," and like even to the point where once he shoots him, his like right-hand man or whatever, like his guy, like shoots at him and misses, and then that's when he shoots that guy, and then he like kills Johnny, and like I think this has probably happened in other films before. I could be wrong. You've seen a lot more films than I have, but like after he kills him, he's like still pulling the trigger, and you hear like the gun click like 10 times until he finally stops, because he's like in a
state of shock.
Yeah, he's like in a I wouldn't say a rage, because he doesn't get angry. He's just until it's all over. You know what I mean? He's like,
yeah,
like you said, it's just like he's not there.
Yep. And this is probably my favorite part of the movie, because like there's a bloodbath basically in the apartment, and then it's like, ding dong, police here, open up.
Yeah,
he
has to play like fucking Sims over here and move all the furniture around and shit.
That's the one thing in the movie I thought was a little bit pushing it, was when the cop comes in and he like steps on the bloody carpet and it was like, like I think he may have noticed that.
Well, that and one of the things that I thought was actually, I wasn't going to bring it up till you said that, but I thought was kind of out of place, and it was kind of like pushing it for me, was like when Johnny finally gets shot, he's like, "Don't shoot," and I was like, "Is that like the best take you got?" Because that came off as like, it's like you know, in a cartoon when a character gets woken up and they're like 5 more minutes, mommy, or they get knocked out, and it's like, what the fuck is this? This isn't funny. This is like fucking schoolyard bullshit. But
I'd have to go back and watch. Honestly, I didn't.
You're like,
it didn't
I rewatched it
jump out
10
at me.
times. I'm like, the shots would sting, but it was wrong to begin with.
Well, that's the cool thing about this movie. I think the Wachowskis like they favored just going with something unique and different in like every possible way. So maybe that was the most unique take they could find.
They're like,
I don't know.
Let's make it uniquely shit. And I'm like, you did it. But that was the only thing. Yeah, it was just. I don't know if it was just the way he delivered it, like that character. But I was just like, this ain't doing it. But yeah, like after he kills him, he like taunts him. He doesn't teabag him or anything, but he just taunts him. Says, you know, who's dead now, motherfucker? Who's dead? And
I love that.
We got to give a shout out though to 1 hour and 9 minutes 29 seconds. If you're watching this film, if it's the regular edition, it might be different on the unrated. They turn on the TV and it's playing Night of the Living Dead by George A. Romero. Pretty much any movie though I think can use this, since it is they fucked up the copyright license, and this is like a film that's in the public domain, right?
Yep.
But that was cool.
It's a nice touch.
But
that's
yeah,
probably like the most often played movie in the background of other movies, just because it is like free.
if you want,
I love it every time.
If you want to use something, yeah,
up.
for sure. He wants to use the restroom, and that's where all the bodies were put. Yeah, like you were saying, these 2 cops come in, and one of them's got to take a piss, and then they just like leave. It's kind of one of those tension moments, like, oh, are they gonna find out? And it's like, nope.
Yep, love that.
So they go looking for the money at Johnny's place, and his gate has a big J on it. And I have a question: would you ever put like a big M on your gate if you had one?
Like, probably not.
I was like, come on, man. I don't know, like
I put a D for Duke Nukem.
Dude, that's awesome.
No, it's not. It's so stupid.
You said it. You fucking pulled the wool over my eyes. You tricked me.
Would you
put a D on my door?
No, an M.
Oh. No, I don't know. It's weird because I've never. I guess I mean I asked you the question, but it's one of those things where it's like, I guess I would have to be. I would be like, I would have to have a nice enough house to have a gate and be in that kind of lifestyle. I guess if so, I would maybe. I don't know. I don't think I would put an M. You know, what'd be really funny is if you put like a big thing of your own face on your gate. Actually, that's not funny at all. Yeah, I don't know. But I've seen that in other films. I think I've seen that in like GTA games before too, where like somebody really rich has like their initial on the fucking or whatever, and it's like, why? I don't know. I guess the answer would be no. So we got the Star Wars Han Solo thing here. I want to tell you something, Corky. I know, Violet. I know, that's why I'm still here. I was like, nice badassery. And I had a feeling this was going to happen. This is actually the only time in the movie that I kind of paused because I was like, oh, shit. I know what's going to happen here. Violet is caught on the phone by Joey Pants. And,
yeah, that's another great moment.
And I was
then
like,
another movie, like,
yeah.
he wouldn't have been smart enough to catch it and, like, do what he does. But,
like, his character wouldn't have been smart enough.
Yeah.
Like in any other movie that he was in, like usually Joey Pants is an idiot.
No, I mean in a movie that wasn't this good.
Yeah.
Like that's why this movie is good. It's like the characters are acting like realistic and being smart, trying to outsmart each other.
I definitely
and
think
it's a great effect.
It's something that for sure has happened a lot, like where it's like not that specific thing, but like where they're caught, you know what I mean? But it was like the way it was done was like what the fuck?
Oh no. I mean, you've complained about it lots of times where characters do dumb stuff in movies, and it doesn't happen in this one. So
the only thing
it's a very cool effect when
mm-hmm.
he hits redial, and then you hear the phone ringing on the other side of the wall, and it's like, oh, it's on now.
The only thing that I would say was kind of like when it happened, I was like, oh shit, I can't believe you didn't do that. Was like he dials redial, and then like they pick up the phone, but they don't say anything, and he's like, Mickey? And then, like, Corky hangs up the phone, and, like, instead of, like, pulling the what's it called? The phone off the thing so it wouldn't ring.
Or just leave it off the hook.
Yeah, she lets it, like, ring again, and then she pulls it out, and it's like, he's like, who the fuck's next door? And that's when I was like, oh man, that was just like a lapse in judgment, but it was like that's the closest thing to like a stupid thing that happens in this film, where it was like they thought of it, but it was like too late. But it was like, yeah. There's a funny thing here. It's not funny, but I think the way this was delivered was like by Joey Pants. He's like, drop the fucking gun or die. And I was like, huh? It was just like a funny,
I love that line reading.
It was just so
drop
like
the gun or die.
Horribly funny.
Then it leads to my favorite line in the movie, where he's like, "What did she do to you?" And she's like, "Everything you couldn't."
Yeah, what did she do to you?
Man.
That's not my Violet. What did she do to you? Everything you couldn't. And he's like,
I'm like standing up, applauding.
Everybody knows your kind can't be trusted. If you didn't already hate this character, he's a fucking homophobe. Yeah. It's like, Jesus! This part was funny as hell, though. Joey Pants and Violet are yelling at each other. Shut up! You shut up. I was like, okay. It was just funny. It was like,
yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
good stuff.
He tips over the paint cans for the money. Yes. Finally leaves. No, because fucking like he finds the money in the paint cans, and then he sees Violet like running away, and he's like, no. So he's like, yes, no. And I was like, I don't know why I thought that was kind of funny, but. Violet's running down the stairs. She's got 3 flights of head start on him, and then the next scene he's like right behind her, and then he's not again. And I'm like, wait, what just happened here? I think that was kind of like a little bit of an editing fuck up or something, or maybe it was perspective fuck up. I don't know. I guess we're going kind of into the home stretch here. I'm about to talk about when he kind of gets it. Do you have anything before that, or
no?
He goes on about how, like, you know, like she grabs the gun finally after like the fight between Corky and him doesn't go as planned, where she like completely whiffs a fucking wrench shot when he wasn't even looking at her. I don't know how the hell that happened, but he has like spider sense or something. But he like turns around, knocks her out, and then Jennifer Tilly has the gun on him, and he's like, you know, I know how you are, you know, I know you're not going to shoot me. And then she's like, Caesar, you don't know shit. And then she like fucking shoots him like 50 times, and he does like a paint angel. And yeah,
bloody paint.
He's fucked. And Mickey's a simp.
The image here of the red blood and the white paint is intoxicating.
The shot would sting. But yeah, we got Mickey's a simp over here. You know what the difference is between you and me, Violet? No, me neither. Some great lines in this. Mickey's a great guy. He's like, I don't know, I think he's just one of those characters that's like, he's kind of like the character that stands up for what's right in a world that's wrong, if that makes any sense. Like, he's in the mob, but he like wouldn't let something horrible happen to like a woman, where some of these other guys are like pieces of shit, you know what I mean? Like, they're complete, you know, it's kind of like how like in a gang there's, you know, like the leader won't let people go around and like sexually molest or rape somebody. Like, that's the line they'll draw. They're like stand up for that kind of stuff, or they don't let children be hurt. You know, it's that kind of thing. I don't know. I always like that kind of stuff in movies where like there's at least like some sort of moral compass that they have. They're not just all like fucking rabid jokers and fucking Richies over here. He's a rabid joker. He's a jocker. He's a king of cards.
Deck of cards coming soon.
Yeah, that's right. Deck of cards.
It's 99.999% complete.
It's like, what? I guess I have a couple things to trivia here.
No, I didn't look.
I actually didn't look too far because none of them were ridiculous. They were just like factoids more so. Jennifer Tilly named Violet as the best role she ever had, which I was like, yeah.
Great.
Gina Gershon's influences for her role were James Dean, Marlon Brando, and Clint Eastwood. And I was like,
nice.
That's pretty much it, though, because I didn't look too far into this, because a lot of this on IMDb, besides being bullshit, there wasn't really bullshit for this movie, but, like, a lot of it's repeating, and it's, like, contradicting stuff. So it's like, you know, this person was super confident in their role, and then, like, 5 things down, it's like, when they first got the role, they were terrified. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up.
It's like some of the most watered down trivia. Like, it's like not even trivia.
Diarrhea.
It's just like boring information.
It's like diarrhea coming out of my dick. AVGN style. So yeah, I guess what would you rate this film, like Mr. Ebert, if you had to? In fact,
I'm gonna go 8.95. My only critique is I think this movie probably could have been tightened up a little bit. Maybe get it down to 90 minutes or so. Would have been a little bit tighter. And
what would you cut out?
I don't know.
Actually, how long was your copy?
I think it was 1 minute longer than the rated, so it's barely
that extra minute just sitting you over the edge. You're seeing red. You're frothing.
And not all the suspense like totally worked for me watching it this time. I wasn't like fully pulled in every scene, but other than that, I mean, this is a great movie. Highly recommended. 8.95.
There you have it.
How about you?
For the third week in a row, I'm going to have to give this a perfect score, 9.95. I think it was first time seeing this film, so I think for me it was a little bit different. Like, obviously you've seen it and you have your own opinions about it too and stuff. I think if maybe I'd seen it a bunch of times, I would definitely start seeing more things about it. But I think I was just so blown away with like 2 women leads that were not only great written and greatly acted, they were like, you know, the whole thing about the film was that they were in love with each other, and it's like
what a novel idea.
Well, it's just shocking too, because like if this would have come out now, it's like, you know how many people would fucking throw a fit about this? It's like this movie came out in the 90s, and it's like, I don't know, the fuck happened to the world. Anyway, watch this film. It's fucking awesome. 8.95, 9.95. You know, that's pretty close to being, you know, pretty legit. I mean, it is legit, man. But so do you have anything else to say about this film?
Nailed it.
You're like, no meat. Like fucking Rambo or whatever. I watch that clip every 5 seconds. Jesus, that would be insane. But yeah, it's funny. So what's your pick next week for Weird Watches, since we're alternating when it's not Mike or Matt?
All right, so
okay.
This week, did you know that they made a series out of the Karate Kid?
Like an animated show?
Yes.
Yes, I did. But
I didn't.
I haven't watched it before.
Well, it's gonna be a weird watch.
Oh.
I thought I was gonna fool you and be like, "What, Cobra Kai?" Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I'm a little too obsessed with Karate Kid, so I knew about that, but that doesn't mean
now's your chance.
You won't be able to fool me sometime.
Have a weird watch.
First time, fool me. Shame on you. Second time, you can't fool me again.
Nice.
So, this is the buddy pick week, so let's see here. I've had a couple people actually already picked that are on here, so let's do 3 through 16.
6.
Okay, well, I'm not sure about your like or dislike for this, but
Oh boy.
oh boy, it's nothing like Lord of the Beans. I mean, that never got picked. Hook.
Hook.
Yeah.
Hook blows. No.
Tune in next week for Hook.
No. Hook blows.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Or wait, yeah, you are serious. Well,
What jerk picked Hook?
I don't know if I should out him. Ryan. Not our friend Ryan, my friend Ryan that I used to work with. Some people think it's a classic. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I'm assuming by your reaction you're not a fan, but
We'll give it a shot.
when was the last time you saw it?
It's been a while.
Been a while since I could watch this Hook on TV. So
It's on theater.
It was a fright. So yeah, we've got Hook next week, and then your pick, Karate Kid, the animated show. I'll have to look and see. I'm sure that's on YouTube somewhere. But
Tune in next week, see if I show up.
you better show up. I'm gonna whoop your butt, not your ass. But I guess until next time, everybody, check us out on YouTube, Steak Belmont 64, also Instagram and Twitter. We've got these episodes up every Monday. And do you have anything else to say, Matt?
I only have one word.
Ah.
Wound. I mean, bye.